I know, all of our favorite NFL teams lost, but what if we gave every eliminated fan like myself a hall pass to join one of the last remaining 4 teams? Here is who every eliminated team is rooting for to win this year's Super Bowl. Starting with the most rooted for team, obviously, the Buffalo Bills. And half the league is screaming, "Let's go Buffalo!" Hey. It's because we all hate the Chiefs. But to win the Super Bowl, I'm sure the Texans have plenty of fuel after the refs screwed them over last week to root for da Bills. You saw player after player after player. They just seem so salty, so sick of the Chiefs and having to play against the refs. Their post-game locker room interviews were honestly kind of hard to watch. And then all the Denver Bronco fans are rooting for the Bills as well. There's clearly zero grudges held by the Bronco Nation because every single Bronco fan I know is rooting for Von Miller to win the Super Bowl this year. And even though the Buffalo Bills literally eliminated the Broncos, Denver fans are a part of Bills Mafia this week. Of course, the Broncos are bitter rivals with the Chiefs also. And while the Broncos are rooting for Von Miller's legacy, Bears fans are still rooting for Mitch Trubisky's legacy. Mitch Trubisky became a legend in Chicago and still is a legend and has Bears fans rooting for him. And 49ers fans are in a tough spot. You can't really root for Kansas City, who beat you twice in your last 2 Super Bowl appearances. You can't really go for Philly, one of your bitter NFC rivals. Also, a lot of people forget the Washington Commanders and 49ers had a 1990s and 1980s rivalry for the ages. So by consolation, the 49ers are falling in this category too. I guess they could root for like Leonard Floyd or some of these random Niners that are on the Bills. And the Giants clearly can't go for NFC East teams, Washington Commanders or Philadelphia Eagles. And even though Buffalo is a same-state rival, I still think they hate the Chiefs more. The one team I know New York does not want to see win the Super Bowl is Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you imagine being a Giants fan and having to watch Saquon go for 2,000 yards, run all the way to the Super Bowl, and win it a year after leaving New York? And New York basically chose Danny Dumps over Saquon Barkley. That would make me sick. Other NFC teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, and New Orleans Saints, and Green Bay Packers all hate Philadelphia. Philadelphia is like the Raiders of the NFC. And then the Commanders, historically awful franchise, doesn't have a great track record either. So these teams are likely rooting for an AFC team. And we just keep going back to, hey, let's go Buffalo. The Steelers have a cross-state rivalry with the Eagles. They ain't going for Philly either. A similar area rivalry with the Commanders. I don't think they're going for Washington. I know no Steelers fans are going for the Chiefs, so they land with Buffalo as well. Steelers fans, y'all root for Mitch Trubisky? And then the last 2 teams that are rooting for the Bills to win the Super Bowl, the Detroit Lions, who are probably still salty that Jaden sent them home last week, but no way does Detroit go for Philly or KC. And the Bills could literally live out the Lions fans' dream. Maybe the Lions will look at this as the football gods giving the Bills their turn. So that way next year, the Lions can stay healthy and have their turn. And then the last team rooting for da Bills is the Las Vegas Raiders. At least those Raiders fans who have forgiven Amari Cooper by now enough to root for Mac Hollins, who's an absolute lunatic and former Raider. And Raider fan favorite to be that. Also, the Raiders don't need any extra fuel to root for the Chiefs to lose. And speaking of Saquon Barkley, there was heavy rumors that Antonio Pierce wanted to trade up for Jaden Daniels and was willing to give away basically anything for him. Maybe even Max Crosby. But Raiders GM at the time, who's been fired since, Tom Telesco said, no, I want another tight end. So, Raiders fans probably don't want to see Jaden Daniels go to the Super Bowl. That's half the league, y'all. With the Bills Mafia, it's 17 teams. 16 non-Bills teams rooting for Buffalo to win it all. You're probably wondering, who my Chargers rooting for if they're not rooting for the Bills? I think I can speak for all Chargers fans. We are going with our LA guys. Magic Johnson, Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, Mikey Davis, and more to win the Super Bowl this year. Also, us Chargers fans naturally always root for the underdogs. Just like the Seattle Seahawks, who have to be rooting for the LOB's roots to continue to win in the NFL. You can argue that Bobby Wagner was the centerpiece of the LOB, and you can argue that the puppet master, the guy pulling the strings, was Dan Quinn at its peak. The Ravens have to want to see a mobile quarterback, someone who is compared to Lamar Jackson every time we have the conversation, win the Super Bowl, just to prove that is possible to Lamar and all of the Ravens fans. And the Cincinnati Bengals have this LSU frat going on, where they just draft LSU player after LSU player after LSU player after LSU player. So I assume Bengals fans and Bengals players will be rooting for the LSU quarterback in Washington, maybe, who just won the Heisman to also go and win the Super Bowl. Now, Vikings fans hate the Philadelphia Eagles more than any other fan base, it seems like. I think Vikings fans hate Eagles fans more than Bears fans. I think Vikings fans hate Eagles fans more than Lions fans. Now, I'm not going to go as far as saying that the Vikings hate them more than the Packers, but I think Eagles will be second on the list. What did Philly fans do to y'all? Are they just assholes all the time? I know there's been some intense playoff moments between these two teams. You won't catch a Vikings fan dead rooting for the Eagles. Vikings fans, please let me know what started this in the comment section. The New England Patriots don't ever want to see their dynasty topped by the Chiefs. Also, cannot root for Buffalo, their division rivals. I bet New England would rather anybody but Josh Allen win the Super Bowl, including Patrick Mahomes, maybe. And thanks to rival Nick Foles beating the Patriots a few years ago, and the Eagles and Patriots having a long-standing Super Bowl rivalry, I don't think they're rooting for Philly either. It's the Patriots here with Washington. And then the Jets and Jags are completely lost in the sauce. Jets, Jags fans, look at me. Focus for just 1 second. It's okay. You don't have to overthink this. You don't have to go for Buffalo or KC, two teams you don't like. You don't have to see another team in gang green win it, who's fleeced both of you out of trades in recent years. Just root for Washington. It can make that Jets head coaching hire even seem better if the defending Super Bowl champs were the one team that could put 50 points up on his defense in his final game as a Lion versus just another rookie quarterback and another Washington team who kind of gets forgotten about because the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, and then the Lions giving up 50 points to this rookie quarterback looks terrible on Aaron Glenn's record. That puts a total 8 teams on the Washington Commanders to win the Super Bowl. The second least popular team left to win it all is obviously the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, NFL fans don't like Eagles fans very much, and I understand why. Me personally, all Eagles fans I've interacted with are a hell of a lot of fun to watch football with. And again, I have thick skin. The Indianapolis Colts, Cleveland Browns, and Miami Dolphins want to be the Eagles so bad, they're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl this year. Think about it. The Dolphins literally have the downgraded version of Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. The Browns try and capture that late 2010s magic year after year after year with Nick Chubb in this O-line. And the Colts literally took the Eagles' offense, built it around Anthony Richardson this year, and it didn't work. These teams want to be the Eagles so bad, they got Kelly Green underwear on this week. And the Titans were definitely rooting for King Henry to finally win a Super Bowl, even if it was on their bitter rivals, the Baltimore Ravens. They appreciated what the King did for them. A Hall of Famer, a legend in this game, a guy that's going to go down as one of the best running backs of all time. He did most of it with the Titans, so of course they wanted him to win the Super Bowl. But since the Baltimore Ravens absolutely choked, it looks like the Titans fans are going to have to settle for A.J. Brown winning the Super Bowl instead, and the Eagles. 4 franchises that are eliminated rooting for the Eagles. If you're rooting for the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl this year, like the video. If you're not rooting for the Bills, comment which team you're rooting for. And I will tell you the one team that is rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. But first, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm NFL Mike. An NFL content creator that makes NFL content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sundays. If you're truly an NFL fan, subscribe to the channel before you forget. The only team that wants to see the world burn with the Kansas City Chiefs winning their 3rd straight Super Bowl trophy is a team who hates both the Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Commanders because they are in their division. A team that has a 50-year-long Super Bowl rivalry with the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, a team that everything has gone so wrong for, they just want to see the rest of the league suffer like they are. Cowboys fans, you can stop hiding. I know you guys are the only fans also rooting for the Swifties and the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. But who will win the Super Bowl this year? And who will be the 2 teams we even have to root for? I guess sooner rather than later, the ball definitely won't lie.
Bill Flames, I went Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster.